Here we
What?
are. So we are live. The Connected Conversations for Creatives podcast is live, and I am Jennifer Carr, and I am here with Nancy Soulé, and I am so excited that we are making this chaos happen together because neither of us have a clue what we're doing, but we are excited to be doing it together.
Well, you got to try it sometime, and why not? I'm happy to be the guinea pig.
Well, and I'm so glad because we've got some catching up to do because you're about to leave for how long?
About a month,
Yeah,
34 days.
you'll be out to sea for a month. Now, we need to explain why you're going out to sea. It's not because you're just running away from life and its problems. It's because it's something that you have discovered how that you just love doing, and you have found a way to make it not just a passion but also a career. And so we need to kind of get ourselves caught up on why you chose this route and how you got on this path.
Well, oh my gosh, it started way back in probably 2005. Um, I was, I've always thought it was a cool thing. I had gone on a cruise once, and it was such a cool idea, but nobody knew how to get jobs. They was just like, we didn't have the internet.
What?
There was a time when there was no freaking internet. Believe that? Oh my god! So it took me until 2011 before I found a way to do that. But I did manage to get connected with some guys who had a band and they needed a singer to come fill in for the girl who was going to quit and go get a land job. And so I said, I'll sign me up. So I did it. So I got to fly all the way to Honolulu and sail all the way to Australia. And that was just the first, 4 month contract. It was amazing. And then after that, we did Europe and we did the Caribbean and we did, lots of places and different companies. And it was absolutely amazing. So did that until about 2014. And then really all the companies decided they didn't want jazz so much anymore. And I really loved doing the jazz thing because I spent so many years doing party bands and having to be Madonna and Michael Jackson. It's like really, come on, a little white girl. It was not quite the same. So I was ready to be something of my find my own voice. So it was wonderful. But the companies kind of decided they didn't want to do jazz anymore. They just wanted party bands, and I was tired of doing party bands. So I said, all right, if I can't sing, I'll sew. Because before I was playing with the band, I was teaching at a fashion college and I was doing costumes for local theater. And so I said, well, can I still come? So I just kind of transitioned into being a contractor. So I've been doing that ever since. And now I just hop from ship to ship to ship and do it all sorts of all places all over the world. It's crazy.
That's wild. Now, were you always a free spirit, like back in the day before you decided to start hopping ships? Were you a free spirit or did you keep roots?
Well, I had roots for a while. Yeah, I did the whole get married thing and the having the house and the business, and I had a clothing store for a while, and I was writing a fashion, a newspaper column, and but I was doing everything in my store. I was, doing the inventory and the buying. I was designing some stuff and having it made, and doing the window displays and the accounting, and it's like,
Yeah.
it was just exhausting. So when my lease ran out, I thought, you know what? Shopkeeper is really not high on my list. Okay, been there, done that. Let's move on. So, because I got really jealous when one of my manager would decide to quit and move off and do something else and go travel. I went, oh, can I come? So, okay, this is enough. So it was just time to move on and do something different. And I'd always had a band on the side, and it was fun. I started out with little a cappella groups, and we played at the shopping mall and did private parties, and it was great fun.
That's
So
awesome. Okay, so you had roots, you became a free spirit. Now, when you're home for long stints of time, do you get angsty and want to get back on the boat like as soon as possible?
well, I like the breaks. I like the breaks. This was an unexpected little sort of month vacation. I was scheduled to do one that was pretty lengthy, but I would have had to fly, 25 hours to get to it. And I thought, no, I think I'll pass on that one. It's the lovely thing about being a contractor, and they just give you this is what's coming up. Do you want it or not? Take it or leave it. It's like, nah, I think I'll pass on that one. So that gave me a few weeks at home. So it is nice to be rooted for a minute, but they're comes a time when it's like I never unpack my suitcase. I mean, it's ready to go. All
Wow.
so,
It's like you have a go bag just at the door, like just in case they call.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
Well, this job is a little tougher because I have to carry a sewing machine, which is kind of a bear. But
interesting.
yeah,
So
it's a
have
lot
you
more luggage than I like to carry.
yeah, no kidding. So you take a sewing machine on a ship. Have you ever had a really fun experience trying to sew when the waters got a little choppy?
That can happen because most often the theaters are in the bow of the ship. And there is one, this little poor little ship. She's gone now, but she was the Majesty of the Seas, and tiny little ship. But she was just a lovely one of the older ones, and a tiny tiny little dressing room, and it was way up in the front, and it started kind of doing this, and you're trying to do handwork. It's like I don't think so. So I think I'll just take my her back to my cabin and maybe have a nap. So yeah, it happens, but not so much. I mean, if there's weather, they just go somewhere else.
That's wild. I never once considered the fact that there was going to be a sewing machine on board the cruise ship that I was on.
Yeah. Well, there's always one there because the guys who are maintaining things. I mean, we come on for an install when you have a new cast and they come on and have to be fitted for the costumes to get them on stage. But there's always one there for maintenance. But
Makes
yeah, with when we have it installed, we all have to bring our machine. So we set up between four and actually the one I'm going to, I'm probably going to have nine on the next one because we're going to the big ships, one of the big ships, Symphony of the Seas, which has Hairspray, a Broadway show, and we the other show we do. It's a wonderful Royal Caribbean production that's called Flight, and it starts with a trip to Mars. We have the floating guys in the capsule. We're planting spaceman planting a flag on the moon kind of thing, and then it goes all the way back through time, and it ends with a full size Kitty Hawk flying around the theater. It's on cables, but it's got the actor in it, and he has to be weighed in his costume every time before he goes up to be sure he's okay. So, and he flies around the whole room and then lands on this. It's amazing, amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, I will say I've always been impressed, and I've only been on a few cruise ships, but it is impressive to me what they can shove in those little spaces. Because if you look around, you're going, "Oh my goodness!" Because we go to our local, it's Birmingham Broadway, and so you're in this little concert hall or whatever, and you're like, "Man, you can do a lot in this space." And I'm thinking a cruise ship is even smaller, and I'm just going, "What? How did they do that?" So yeah, it's pretty amazing what they can do in those tiny spaces.
Well, and the theater is used for so many different things. So it's not like on a Broadway or even just a regular land stage where they leave all the sets there, or they can just kind of move them around. We have to lock them down. We have to move them off. Pack them in. They've got to be all broken down and put in places and secured so that they don't move. And it's crazy. I don't envy the stage staff who has to manage all that stuff all the time.
You'll hang out with your sewing machine and be perfectly happy.
Oh yeah. One of our ships has cats, and the stage is the actual West End Broadway set, and it takes them about 6 hours to set up the stage with all of the junk and the trash stuff that they have to build onto the stage for all of the platforms and all of that, and then they have to break it all down, put it back up. It's like, oh,
Wow.
exhausting.
That's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah, no, things you just don't really think about on this side, like being the passenger, like seeing all the behind
Yeah,
the scenes stuff. It's
I know. Well, that's
crazy.
what. Well, funny you should mention it. That's why I wrote the book. It's called "Work at Sea, See the World." There we go.
Yeah.
Which is on sale on Amazon at the moment, or order it through your local bookstore, which is even better. But just trying to explain, what happens on board to live there, and I've been really surprised at the response because it was more targeted to people who might want to try the job because I just found my happy place.
Yeah.
But the people who've read it just go, no, this is amazing. This I had no idea. Even if I'm not going on a cruise, there's packing information and there's flying information and there's being if you have to be away from your house for a certain amount of time, things you can do to secure it all, and it's kind of stuff for everybody. So I've been really really surprised about the response. It's been wonderful. It's been selling
No,
really well. So thank you very much.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I know that when we the first cruise that we took, I mean, I was on Pinterest months before we started. I was going, what do I need to pack? I don't even know. I've never, you go to vacation at a hotel, it's easy to go from the hotel to Walmart and be like, I need to go get something. But it's like, what do I need? Because once you're on that boat, you are on that boat. And so
But
there's
there are
no
ports. That's the thing.
right.
They'll take so much less than you think you need. It gives you an excuse to buy it in something else in the ports, or it gives you an errand. You've got to go find, toothpaste. So you
Yeah.
got to go find the drugstore. Ooh, there's an adventure. Try to do that in Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately, now I will say we did overpack some stuff, but we did not freak out and we didn't go overboard like, no pun intended, like we could have. That's not the fun you really want to make. But
Inappropriate.
anyway, um, just said the word. But it's nice to have it all in one place, especially from somebody who knows what it's like to just live on the ship and not just travel to and from and that kind of thing. So to have that from the expert, I think that would be a really good resource to have.
It's handy. In fact, I've had several friends who bought one and they read it and they think, I was going to just read it and give it to my friend. I said, no, I can't give this away. Can I buy another one? I want to give her her own because I got to keep it. And it's like,
Nice.
okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's all good for me.
And you also include in your book, so you have like, packing tips and travel tips and how to do, that's the job you want. But you also have part of it is about how your company respects the waters and the environmental side of things as well, which is really cool because some people go into it thinking, I can't take cruises because it's bad for the environment, but that's not true.
Not at all. In fact, quite the opposite because there are monitoring instruments on the ships that are sending back information about the tides and the currents and the wildlife and the temperature changes and things that they need that research information to be able to take care of the stuff they need to take care of. But honestly, our propulsion has gone to more natural gas. Even the newer ones are very eco-friendly. Nothing, the pollutants, there are no pollutants. I mean, the things that are coming out of the stack have been not only processed with, micro booba dooba, that breaks them down into little blah, blah, and then whatever's burned is also whatever comes out the stack has been scrubbed.
Yep.
There are scrubbers in the stack that clean out all that stuff. So all you're getting, Mary, is maybe steam. You're not getting the smoke is not pollutant at all. It's amazing. There's a generator on some of these ships that put out a whole layer of bubbles underneath the hull so that it's more fuel efficient. It doesn't disrupt the ecosystem at the time. It's quite amazing. It's just so many things, so many things.
And not every company does that. Not every company is that conscientious. But I mean, there are some regulations, that have to
Yeah,
be met.
there
Like,
are. There
yeah,
are. There are massive environmental officer stuff that is regulated constantly. I mean, we send water samples back to a lab somewhere in Canada, I think, that has to assess to be sure that everything's are being processed right and all that. Because there is some put out into the water, but that's only after it's been microbial
mhm. That's the technical
eaten
term
up
for it.
by these little microbe thingies that
Yeah,
make it literally drinkable. It's
yeah,
quite amazing, quite amazing.
yeah. That is
So
pretty wild.
yeah.
Okay, so if somebody wanted a job on a cruise ship, who would be the ideal candidate for that kind of job?
Probably the best choices would be people between about 20 and 40, maybe. Probably the prime range, because really you're hired as a rescue worker more than whatever your job is. It's good that you have your job, but you have to be skilled to do that. But you're looking out for a whole lot of people.
Hmm.
Some of these ships, some the new ones coming out was like 7,200 people.
That's a lot of
And
people.
Icon, it's yeah, it's a floating city. So they need to be sure that everybody's being responsible and looking out for each other and knew how to take care of people and rescue. That's, in the book, we've got a whole story about all the trainings and stuff you go through as far as fire safety and evacuation systems and all this sort of stuff. It's a lot of stuff you need to know about. So why not? You learn
Yeah.
some, you get paid for it and you get to travel. It's like, why not?
And I'm thinking, as far as like creatives are concerned, so you're looking at what? Musicians, singers, actors, set builders. What else? What else? Chefs, I guess.
Oh, chefs, yes. Lots
Hmm.
of lots of chefs.
Costume designers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons I really don't cook because I
Why
never
would you?
learned. They're amazing. I have chefs for that.
Seriously. That's
So, yeah.
fantastic. All right. So, what do we need to know? Like, what do we need to know if we wanted to get a job on a cruise ship? What kind of skills do we need to bring with us? Not just our, happy faces and talent. What else do we need to bring?
Okay, you got to be able to speak English.
That's fair.
Spoiler alert. That's that's the international marine language. Thank God it wasn't Chinese. I tried to learn Chinese once because they started putting ships into Asia. And I thought, well, I was with my band and I thought, oh, this would be great because we had lots of ballroom dancers. And I thought that they'd love us until I actually went to one and realized that they really don't like ballroom. They like to line dance because they all like to do it all together, which is lovely. But it was not really our market. But I tried to learn Chinese just, to be ready. I got as far as being able to say, "Excuse me, do you speak English? I do not speak Chinese." So
That seems important.
that's all I learned. I got that far and went, "Okay, that's enough. Not a problem." So, so speaking English, being physically fit, being respectful. It's
Mm,
kind of a big thing with millennials these days they're not used to the structure of having a boss that has to tell you, the schedules and having to be responsible to show up for your job because there are only a certain number of people can do the jobs and it's not like you can call in sick because there's nobody else to do your job
yeah.
and there are people relying on you, so it's needing to be responsible and respectful, speaking English and being in good shape. Other than that, you're pretty good.
Okay. And I would guess maybe hospitality probably should be almost natural. Maybe I don't know.
That would help.
It
Yeah.
would help.
If you speak multiple languages, that's
Mm,
brilliant. That would be really helpful because we have not only multiple guests, but some of the ships have, 60 to 80 countries of crew. And maybe not everybody is as fluent as they might be. So having multiple languages helps to be able to communicate or transfer information and be sure that everybody understands what's going on.
that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like every time we have this conversation, I'm going, in another lifetime, that would have been the job for me. Like that would have been amazing.
I barely got in on the end of it for myself. I mean, I was not 20 when I started. So,
Yeah, I'm 40. I'm 40 this month, and so actually, I'm 40 in 3 weeks, and so one, two, yeah, 3 weeks, and so I'm aging out, but I'm also kind of rooted down here at I've got my kid and my husband and my farm, and so
you got a life. You got a life. It's not a life for everybody, honestly, because it is very portable. It's not something you have roots for.
yeah,
And it's nice to have a home base.
yeah,
People you can rely on that'll, you have somewhere to come home to. That's nice. Thank
oh yeah,
blessing for my sister who takes me in. So it's yeah, because it's not a life for everybody.
right, and I think it's probably even harder than um, like airline stewardess, that kind of job or whatever, like that one. I can see how they're very similar, but at the same time, very different as well.
Yeah, that one seems tougher to me. Being
Yeah.
locked in that tiny little tube. It's just you just there's no comfortable place. You see those poor, flight attendants having to sit in the back in those little jump seats, and it's like, whoa, at least we have a comfy seat, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've
And a
got a
bed when you
bed
need
to
it.
lean on if you want to go to sleep, but they got nothing.
Oh my gosh. And they have to be nice to people who are also trapped in tiny, uncomfortable seats. And so, like, that's a different level of hospitality that I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. No, no, ships. We're a floating destination all by itself. I mean, the water slides and the shows and the ice shows and the aqua shows and the just, I mean, we got some with have bumper cars and cool stuff like that. It's just amazing. We
Oh
can
yeah.
I fly. You can skydive on the ship.
My gosh.
I know.
It's kind of like, what else can we put on a ship? Let's see if this works. Great.
Oh, these new ones are insane. The stuff we have an infinity pool up on the top, and water slides that are just massive. It's amazing, amazing.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's literally part of, like you said, it's a destination. All like it's a vacation inside of a vacation because you're vacationing on your way to vacation. Like it's
That's
wild.
what kind of saved us through the pandemic because once we kind of got shut down in March of 2020, but then by November they were starting to open it up again so that you couldn't go anywhere, but you could just get on board and just float around and come back. So we were the trips to nowhere,
That's
and
wild.
it worked, and we were packed. I mean, well, they started out little,
Pack.
only 700 per people
Yeah,
at once, and then we got to 1,000, and then they started filling up. But people were just dying to get back on board because they wanted to go somewhere, get out of their house.
that's
So,
well, and I get that. We had a cruise that was canceled because of the pandemic. We were supposed to cruise up to um, Canada. We were going to cruise up to Canada and come back and New York and all that stuff, and they got shut down, and so we never rescheduled it. That was unfortunate. They kept
oh,
saying,
that's
"Oh,
too
we're
bad.
closed, we're closed, we're closed," and then by the time they were reopened, we're like,
Mm.
life happens. We couldn't do it, but
Oh, that's too bad. This time of year would be the perfect time to do that.
yes, because it was in October. It was an October
Okay.
cruise, and so it was like going to be the perfect foliage, and oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good this year too. Just
It was. Last year was not so great. Last year was a little lackluster, but we didn't have a lot of rain here last year, and so it was really dry. And then it froze, and everything died before it could turn.
oh,
I know
that's sad.
it was, but this year it was perfect. This year has been just absolutely perfect. So,
Lovely. Well, it's all evening out now. I hope.
oh yeah,
But
and it's like this week it's been 80 degrees, and this weekend it's supposed to be back down in the 50s, and so I don't know what to prepare for. It's crazy.
wow. Well, I'm heading down to Caribbean where it's going to be 85.
Do you prefer the warmer weathers?
No. Honestly, that's why I live in Seattle. I like
See,
cool.
that might be a little too cool for me all year round because I do like a good 75-degree with a breeze kind of day all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I
But
heard that's what it was in Vegas today. So I
oh
said,
yeah.
"Oh, okay, that's the only time I can stand Vegas."
But see, see here in Alabama we have the humidity, whereas in Vegas there is no humidity, and so we've been out to like Arizona, and it's so
Oh,
dry that I
that is
can
so
never
dry.
drink enough water, and so
Yeah,
like I always feel dehydrated out there. Whereas
oh, I
here,
believe it. Oh
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's wild.
no, I can't. It's that dry heat. It's like, well, would you rather be in an oven or a sauna? What are your choices?
Neither. Give me 70 degrees all day, and if I
I
could
hear,
choose my perfect weather.
I hear. Well, that's a lovely thing about ships. If it's that hot, I just don't go outside.
That's true. And you get to choose your destination. It's like, what am I feeling this week or this month? Or, where
Yeah.
am I going to
Or have
go?
I been here before? Yeah, I've been here before. Never mind. I'll just stay in and sit by the pool.
That's fun. So when you get assignments, like when they call and say, "Hey, we have this," and you say, "I don't really want to go there," are there a number of times where you can say no, or can you just say no anytime? And or like, is there a limit?
Anytime they're in need of people. If anybody out there is a really good seamstress, we're always in need of new people because there's some people that don't want to do it for very long, or some people just aren't very good. It's always out of
We
here.
don't call them back. Yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of got to earn your wings.
Hey, that's cool. That's true though in every job. I think that's true in most professions. Like you have to get in and find your groove, and if
Mhm.
you don't, well, it's been
Yeah,
nice and it's been real.
yeah. Move on, move on.
That's
Yeah,
it.
okay. Gave it a shot. Yeah. Yeah, no, I had a niece who wanted to do a ship. She was in culinary school, and she thought, "Oh, no, this would be great." So she went and she did one for Celebrity, and one contract was enough. Said, "Okay, I've been there, done that. Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna do something else now." But some people, like my music director that was on a ship that I was with recently, when he was the very first one that I had, he's still doing it. He's been doing it for 36 years this year. And
Wow.
I know. So sometimes you just can't stop.
It's an addiction.
It really is. I mean, there's a certain amount of regularity to it because you know the system and you know how it works and you know where you're going, you know how it, the hierarchy of who you have to report to and da da da. And there's a certain freedom of having that regularity. But then you get a vacation and you go home and you do what you want to do and then you come back. So if you're doing what you love, I mean, that's what he's doing. He's a trumpet player and he's amazing. He writes all the charts for the orchestra and he just loves what he does. So, and he meets people from all over the place. He's
Yeah.
been to visit some of his band members from, Ukraine several times. So, you get to know people from all over the world. It's amazing.
That's wild. So also liking people would be a really good qualification for this job.
Yeah.
Probably not for introverts.
Well, there are some people, that don't mind the lesser prestigious jobs.
Yeah,
If
behind the
you're happy
scenes.
being a cleaner or a deckhand or working down in the engine room or something like that, and just like being on your own, that can be done too.
That's true. I love how you said you go home for a vacation. I was like, wouldn't that be nice if everybody could just, when they're home, it's a vacation?
It really is. It's so bizarre.
I
Yeah,
love that's hilarious.
that's what I loved about being in the band because it was always a party. Going to work was a party. So how nice. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I saw a thing and I shared it this morning on one of my platforms that it was talking about how if you find your passion and it can pay for itself, great. But if you have found your passion, but you also have to have a job and your job is not your passion, that's okay too, because eventually you could turn your passion into the job that supports you kind of thing. And I'm thinking, for those people who have wanderlust and who have the creative bone in their body and they're ready to go out and make something, creative happen, like I think working on a cruise ship is the place to be.
It's a great option. I think it's perfect for guys that are maybe in a gap year or, done a couple of years of college and, they just want a break and like, I'll come back and I'll finish it later or between, you got out of high school, maybe, and you're just like, oh, I just want to go somewhere and I don't want to be close to the family. I want to go out on my own for a minute. That's a great way to do it because you get to see amazing things, go amazing places and meet amazing people and you come back with a whole different perspective on the world.
And think of all the skills that you pick up along the way that could be applied to a career later if that's not what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. And all the skills that you learn by doing it, as far as, the teamwork and the time management and crisis management and all these sort of things. There's like 18 different, list of things that are fabulous skills to have picked up as along the way. They're all things you can put on your resume and use for other stuff. So
that's awesome. All right, Nancy, I know that it's getting late here and it's probably on its way to winding down time there because we're a couple hours apart, but still it's evening time. And I know other people are probably like, okay, we're tired of their chaos. It's fine, whatever. It's what their loss, not ours. Because I've enjoyed having my time with you and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm going to be sad that you're going to be gone for a month because I'm going to be like, well, now who am I going to talk to? Who am I going to get emails from? I guess we can still
you can
email
still
while you're
send me
gone.
I still have Wi-Fi.
Just not always reliable. It's fine. It's
Not
fine.
always
We'll make it happen.
reliable, but it's not as strong. Maybe. I mean, thank you to Starlink and Mr. Musk. We're getting better. So, but
No,
yeah.
it'll be great. You're going to have a blast. I know it. And I'm going to sit here and be a little envious. But in the meantime, so remind everybody what the title of your book is and where we can find it and all that good stuff. And if they want to talk about working on a cruise ship with you, then how to touch base with you about that.
Okay. All right. So there is the book. It's called Work at Sea, See the World. Is that right way around or backwards?
It looks backwards to me, but it may be forward to somebody else. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if we're mirrored or not. Work at Sea, See the World. And or you can just hit me up at Nancy Soulé, NancySoule.net. And that's my website. And there's a link to it there. The information, you can contact me through that or through my email, which is Nancy Soulé, SOULE.author@gmail. So either way.
Nice.
To answer any questions and shooting them in the right direction. I'm trying to build a program now for musicians because the book is kind of for just everybody. It's all crew, all the jobs, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to build a program for musicians that's called Notes That Float. So that's another way to reach me is notes that float program at Gmail. And I'm happy to talk to musicians that might be interested in seeing the world and getting paid to do what they love because it's amazing.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Again, I'm sitting here just going, well, the lucky little nut jobs that get to go hang out on a ship all the time. That's just so great. I'm so proud of them and happy for them.
I'll think of you when I'm in Jamaica, man.
Yes, please do. And I'll think of you here while I'm trying to decide what to wear because it's hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold. Oh my gosh, that's so
I don't have a
funny.
whole lot of choices. I don't carry a lot of stuff in my suitcase. So this is
Well,
what you wear, this is what you wear, that's it.
and nobody's going to care because you're all on the same ship doing the same exact thing.
Exactly.
That's great.
Uh,
Oh, well, this has been a fun experiment, and I hope that we can do it again when you get back and you can tell me all about it.
you got it. Anytime, Jen. I'm here for you, babe.
Perfect. And we'll make sure that everything's streaming and it's running like clockwork next time, and it'll be great.
Cool deal. Cool deal. Well, if it wasn't and you recorded it, let me know when you're going to post it.
Oh, sure. Hey, I'm going to post it as soon as it's downloaded tonight. I'm going to upload it to all the channels that didn't stream on.
Okay. Well, hello to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all you people that are Xing out there.
That's, that's right. And I will be back with another connected conversation. Let's see, I'm looking at my calendar. I have another connected conversation live on the 13th with an
Woo-hoo.
author. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I read her book the other day and it made me giggle a lot. And
Ooh,
so
what's her book about?
it's about a girl who she's an introvert and ends up getting sent to a summer camp for leadership, and she's very uncomfortable and pushed outside of her comfort zone, and I can totally relate. But then she also that she might fall in love at summer camp, and it's a familiar story to me, and so because that was also my story. And
Okay, we're
so
going to be looking forward to hearing that one for
yeah,
sure.
it's going to
All
be so
right.
great. So anyway, we're going to keep trying and experimenting until we have it running perfectly. And
Okay. Cool deal. Well, thank you, Jen. This was really fun. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, honey.
absolutely. Have a fantastic evening.
Thank you, sweetheart. You too.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.